Do you hear about that fucking object that's hurtling towards Earth at like 130,000 miles an hour?
No, that might solve all our problems.
Some intergalactic object that's There's this guy, Avi Loeb. He's a professor at Harvard that believes it might be an alien probe.
Wow.
And he was talking about the odds of this thing being in the trajectory that it is, entering into our solar system in a direct path with Earth. The odds are extremely low. And at the place where it's doing it, it's when the Earth is the opposite side of the sun, so it's coming from behind the sun. And it's so it makes it difficult to detect. And that this object is in a direct line to come to Earth in 2027.
Do they have a trajectory of where it's going to land?
I don't think they totally know that yet. I think they're trying to calculate whether or not it's actually going to hit Earth or come near Earth or pass by Earth or what it is. Like
why do they think it's an alien satellite or whatever?
Well, there's this guy, Avi Loeb, this professor that I'm discussing. He also had an analysis of another object that passed by Earth a few years back that they named, and they said that this thing had a very bizarre metallic sort of a look to it that he did not think, based on the shape of it and the way it was traveling, that it was natural. So he thought that that could have been some sort of an alien craft as well. I don't know. It's too fun. It's too fun.
But as it gets closer, we could probably decipher.
Scientists give chilling update on mysterious interstellar object racing through our solar system as they warn it's even bigger than we thought. Provide a chilling update on a mysterious interstellar object that's racing through our solar system. Using data from the Vera C. Rubin Observatory, experts have revealed just how big the object dubbed 31 Atlas really is. According to their analysis, the object measures roughly 7 miles in diameter. Holy fuck. How big is New York City? Bigger than Mount Everest, making it the largest interstellar object ever spotted. Professor Avi Loeb, theoretical physicist and cosmologist from Harvard University, suggested the object could be an alien spacecraft. However, not everyone is convinced. Chris Lintott, an astronomer at the University of Oxford, told Live Science any suggestion that it's artificial is nonsense on stilts. He added that these claims are an insult to the exciting work going on to understand this object. But Harvard's legit, and Avi Loeb is a legit astronomer.
Right. I mean, let's not rule anything out.
Yeah. So
as it gets closer.
There's something about it, about the way it's traveling, that it's bizarre. But it doesn't have a trail like a comet does.
Right.
We can scroll up a little so I can see that. The images of the comet were actually snapped by the Vera C. Rubin before it was officially discovered. However, since it was identified on July 1st, just a little bit ago, scientists have scoured back through data to find out more about the mysterious object. New study published on RXIV, whatever that is. More than 200 researchers have confirmed the likely size of the comet's main body, known as its nucleus. Their analysis suggests the nucleus has a radius of around 3.5 miles. That translates to a diameter or width of about 7 miles. To put that in perspective, bigger than Mount Everest, twice the size of Mount Kilimanjaro. Fuck.
That Honeymoon was way smaller.
Wow.
Yeah, so the, how do you say it?
Oumuamua, I think.
Oumuamua, discovered in 2017. He came on and talked to us about that. Was believed to be around 0.2 miles wide. And comet Borisov, discovered in 2019, was roughly 0.61 kilometer wide. So this thing is fucking huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kal Allahu Malak Yahweh, Wa Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahak, Wadash, and double honors to the elders of JMS Ruel, blessings unto those men, and blessings and salutations to the Akim out there in truth, pushing his word in all sincerity and in honesty. With that being said, Shalom Israel, Barakatah, today's lesson, that's why they are known as mountains. And you heard it from Joe Rogan himself. But every time the people come across the tremendous, gigantic size of the Lord's chariots, they either say, where do you manufacture something of that size, as in the case of Norman Berggren? And others are bugged out when they hear of a 7-mile object traveling towards Earth, as in the case of Joe Rogan. But nevertheless, the Lord, Yahweh Wa Yahushai, does have humongous sized chariots that resemble mountains due to their incredible size. But when it comes to both NASA and the elites of government out of the nation of Edom, they know of the huge mountain-sized chariot that's to come in these last days. That's why the video of Norman R. Bergram stated, "Where do you manufacture one that is 2.5 Earth lengths long?" That was said upon his interview. So for Norman Bergram to say, "Where do you manufacture one that is 2.5 Earth lengths long?" and that the occupants were 7-foot tall aliens that looked like so-called African Americans, clearly indicates that they have seen them. Now, when it comes to the men of the world, they will always think with a carnal mind. That's why they cannot comprehend the things of the Lord and of the incredible mountain-sized chariot of the Lord. To the Most High Power and His Son, nothing is impossible, not even when it comes to making a fathership of that size. And when it comes to man, they only understand the things of the earth. That's why the scriptures of 2 Esdras 4:21 goes on to say, here we have that scripture of 2 Esdras 4:21, "For like as the ground is given unto the wood, and the sea to his floods, even so they that dwell upon the earth may understand nothing but that which is upon the earth. And he that dwelleth above the heavens may only understand the things that are above the height of the heavens." So you see, now when it comes to the Lord, He knows everything. He is a creator. Now the earth is given into the hands of the wicked on that left-hand side of wickedness, according to Job 9:24. And when it comes to the earth, man only understands the things of the earth. That's why they give you that BS story that they lost the plans to get to the moon. They never went to the moon. That's the biggest fabricated lie in history. The nation of Edom continues to search out things upon the earth, and when it comes to the earth itself, it has not been fully explored. 80% of the ocean has not been fully explored or even seen mankind. And when it comes to earthly men, to know what is beyond the outer limits of space, that was not given unto men to know. Man was only allowed to venture to a certain portion of space to establish their satellites and international space station. It was never intended for them to know about the ways of the heavens of space, and neither were they allowed to travel throughout the expansion of space in the time of their rule. That will be a privilege unto true Israel, which consists of so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. You are the 12 tribes of Israel. You shall colonize other worlds. Now, with that being said, let's go over to our next scripture of 2 Esdras 13:6 to prove that those so-called megastructures that are traveling in space and toward Earth are known as chariots and as mountains when it comes to the scriptures. Let's go over to 2 Esdras 13:6. Second Esdras 13:6, "But I beheld, and lo, he had graven himself a great mountain, and flew up upon it." That great mountain is in reference to a giant spaceship. The same way that the Lord was taken up into a cloud is the same way that He shall return. The clouds are also known as the Lord's spaceships upon the scriptures. "He had graven himself a great mountain, and flew up upon it," is in reference to that enormous spaceship of the Lord, Yahweh Wa Yahushai, that will come to make war. And on that day, the Lord's heavenly armada of angels shall be everywhere. That's why Revelation 19:14 goes on to say, "And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean." Right, they followed the Lord, Yahushua HaMashiach, toward earth. And what's coming upon this earth to make war no one has ever seen. Those heavenly clouds shall be full of wrath and storm. That's also a scripture. Let's go over to that scripture. Second Esdras 15:34, "Behold, clouds from the east and from the north unto the south, and they are very horrible to look upon, full of wrath and storm." And those clouds are in reference to the so-called UFOs of the Lord, Yahweh Wa Yahushai. They are also known as chariots and as wheels, according to the scriptures. And these clouds full of wrath and storm represent the chariots of the Lord Yahweh Yahushai that will bring that battle unto Babylon the Great, aka America, in these end times. Full of wrath, meaning in that extreme righteous anger that the Lord Yahweh Yahushai will bring by the way of the chariot lasers and missiles of destruction. Because the chariots themselves are going to shoot forth laser beam fire. And this is the aspect of that fiery battle. And the other aspect of these chariots that are full of wrath are to save the elect out of harm's way. And upon the arrival of the Lord's fathership, that enormous mountain-sized IFO shall be so massive that the whole ship itself will not be seen in its entirety with the naked eye. These spaceships are also known as clouds according to the scriptures. Psalms 104:3, who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind. And these clouds are in reference to the Lord Yahweh Yahushai's IFOs, or identified flying objects. Chariot, according to Lexicon Strong's H7398 and H7392, who maketh the clouds a vehicle to ride on, a so-called UFO, right? And the elites of society know the truth when it comes to the chariots of the Lord. And they also know what they are capable of doing when it comes to their incredible speeds and maneuvers. And these chariots, aka spaceships of the Lord, are the curse that will go forth over the face of the earth, according to the scripture of Zechariah 5:3. And they shall come in great wrath due to the wickedness that has exceedingly polluted the whole earth. This wicked system has reached its full potential, its full peak, and it's ready now to pop. The first time the earth was cleansed by water, and now it shall be cleansed by fire. The only places that shall be severely hit is Babylon the Great, which shall never rebuild, and the land that the small hats now occupy, but that shall rebuild. But when it comes to the ships of the Lord being called mountains, that is also found upon the scripture of Zechariah 6:1. Let's also go over to that scripture. Here we have that scripture of Zechariah 6:1. And I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, there came 4 chariots out from between 2 mountains, and the mountains were mountains of brass. And when have you ever seen a mountain of brass? It's not talking about regular mountains upon the earth. This is talking about the ships of the Lord. The elites of Esau Edom's government know of these huge mountain-sized IFOs that shall come. And we call them IFOs because to us, they are identified. We know where they come from. We know of their origin. So they are IFOs, identified flying objects. And it's just as Norman Bergam said, where do you manufacture or fabricate a thing of that size? The Most High power in His Son, to the Most High power in His Son, there's nothing impossible. Luke 1:37. The problem is that worldly men think with a carnal mind. You see? But it goes on to say, and I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, there came 4 chariots from between two mountains, and the mountains were mountains of brass. So the Lord has big spaceships that are like the size of mountains, and he also has small spaceships, as in the scripture of Zechariah 5:1, that gives you the dimensions. And in these last days, the chariots of the Lord will come in like a whirlwind. That being said, let's go over to Isaiah 66 and 15. Isaiah chapter 66 and 15. For behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. The second death will be by fire, and the Lord's chariots, aka so-called UFOs, those so-called UFOs of the Lord, will partake in that fire destruction by shooting laser beams of their own. The Lord will come with fire. That's the second death. Isaiah chapter 66 and verse 16. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. The slain of the Lord, Yahweh, and of Yahushai will be many in that second fiery death. And as soon as this massive fathership of the Lord arrives, along with his great armada of chariots, they shall bring about terror, that the armies of the earth shall durst fight. But that's when the Lord's going to put that fighting spirit upon them to fight them. Those armies of the earth shall lose. Israel, get right. Wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. And use this time to seek the Lord, Yahweh, Yahushai, while he yet may be found, before all hell breaks loose upon this earth. And this is only for Israelites, which are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Tainos, and Native American Indians. Seek the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, while he yet may be found. Because the Lord is getting ready to end Esau, Edom's wicked kingdom upon this earth. But with that being said, I hope that you've been edified in this short lesson of the scriptures. And with that being said, Ka'al Malak Yahweh, Wa Yahushai, Bahashem, Rahak, Wadash, and double honors to the elders of Jemes Ruel. Blessings unto those men, and blessings and salutations to the Akim out there in truth, pushing his word in all sincerity and in honesty. With that being said, Shalom Israel, Barakatah. Shalom.